Welcome to Shoe Leather Faith as we continue our study of alcohol, its use and its abuse. And before we get started with today's issue, which is the use of alcohol in the Old Testament, let me encourage you to subscribe to this channel. And please, if you have questions about the use of alcohol for a Christian, or what does the Bible actually say, or how do you respond to this particular verse, put that down below in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Legitimate questions, I'll answer them personally. Now let's get started with our study this morning. We need to turn to Genesis chapter 9 to find the first reference to the use of wine. And naturally, wouldn't you know it, the first use that's referenced in the Bible is an abuse of wine. So let's go there at chapter 9 of Genesis, and we'll go to verse 20. And Noah began to be a farmer, and he planted a vineyard. Now there's nothing wrong with that. God gave us vineyards. He gave us the grape. People have made wine out of all kinds of stuff in the Old Testament. Then he drank of the wine and was drunk. All of a sudden, the use of wine became an abuse of wine and became uncovered in his tent. So here's Noah, righteous Noah, coming through the flood because of his righteousness, bringing his family safely through, and his grandson Canaan got involved with him in some sort of same-sex problem. There's not much detail there, and fortunately the Bible doesn't give us a lot of room to speculate in some sordid way. And then he drank of the wine and was drunk and became uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers outside. But Shem and Japheth took a garment, laid it on both their shoulders, and went backward and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were turned away, and they did not see their father's nakedness. It goes on, it says, when Noah woke up from his drunken stupor, it said it nicer way than that, but that's what it was. When he woke up, he put a curse on Canaan, and they've suffered throughout history for that. So that was Noah. And the first reference to wine is its abuse. And it was wrong for Noah to become drunk. It made him vulnerable to Canaan's abuse, sexual abuse. We don't know the sin of Canaan, but it was apparently a homosexual sin of some sort. But it wouldn't have happened if Noah had stayed sober. And that's the issue for us. We don't fall into sin as easily if we stay sober. Remember the caution I gave you at the end of the last time together? Do not put anything in your body that will diminish your ability to discern right and wrong or good and evil. The next big event is the destruction of the cities of plain. And Lot, whom Peter calls righteous Lot, in Genesis chapter 19, verse 30 to 35. Turn there with me. Then Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountains, and his two daughters were with him. So his wife had died, his two sons-in-law had died at the destruction of Sodom. So it's just the three of them now. And his two daughters were with him, for he was afraid to dwell in Zoar. And he came, and his two daughters dwelt in a cave. Now the firstborn said to the younger, our father is old, and there is no man on the earth to come in to us, as is the custom of all the earth. Their husbands were dead, they were widows, and their father was broke, living in a cave. They're not going to get married anytime soon. Verse 32. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him. See, the two daughters had picked up the culture and the values, the morality of the cities of the plain. So it was nothing for them, but they had to get their father drunk so that they could take advantage of him. And he was foolish enough to go along with the program. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve the lineage of our father. I don't know if they were thinking about themselves, really. So they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father, and he did not know when she lay down or when she arose. It happened on the next day that the firstborn said to the younger, indeed I lay with my father last night. Let us make him drink wine again tonight, and you go in and lie with him, that we may preserve the lineage of our father. Then they made their father drink wine that night also. And the younger arose and lay with him, and he did not know when she lay down or when she arose. And they gave birth to 2 sons, Moab and Ammon. And both of those became great nations, bordering on Israel, and they were a thorn in the side of Israel throughout their history. And even though they have different names today, they're still that same thorn. Realize that if Lot had not taken the wine and fallen for the subterfuge of his daughters, we wouldn't have the same problems in the Middle East today. But we do, because he did. Realize also that there would have been no incest had Lot remained sober. I found no aspersion of sin for those who drink wine, except for those who drink wine to the point of drunkenness. And as I mentioned last time, I believe drunkenness begins when you get that first buzz, when you just know that it's controlling you. Next week, we're going to deal with the issue of general principles from the Old Testament before we go on to the New Testament. But I hope you realize in just these 2 examples of Lot and Noah, how just foolish decisions to overindulge in wine, alcoholic beverage, if you will, caused them great problems in their lives, and their problems that they lived and died with. So remember the principle I gave you. Don't put anything in your body that diminishes your ability to discern right and wrong and good and evil. Next time we'll get back into some general principles from the Old Testament before we go on to the New Testament. So until then, God bless you. Keep reading your Bible. Get a Strong's Concordance and look up every reference to wine or strong drink. You'll learn a lot. Until then.